Hello and welcome back to today's episode where we will continue to deconstruct our little trailer. Last time, if you'll remember, we took off the front panel, we took off the street side panel, and we talked about the different parts that were underneath the benches. We talked about our little wardrobe area, we talked about our cabinets. And today we are actually going to remove them. I thought we would get to that last time. However, I'm trying to keep these videos at 20 minutes. So with that, we have to do a part 2. Today, I'm hoping that we'll be able to have the cabinets over there, that wall, this bench seat, our partition wall, and the upper cabinets of our kitchenette removed. That will leave us with just the floor. Let's get started. Well, here we are sitting in the middle of our camper. It's getting pretty rickety, a little bit disconcerting to sit on, but we're going to go ahead and start removing our parts out of here. We have this bracket, which looks just like the one that holds the wardrobe rod up. But they were using it to hold the center of the table, to hold the center post of our table. We're going to go ahead and clean that up, and we'll reuse it either on the wardrobe or somewhere else. Keep that in our box for safekeeping. To remove this, there's a little L bracket over here, which will unscrew it from the floor. We see these little L brackets pretty much all over this little trailer. I know we've seen them back in the kitchenette to hold on the ice box, and the stove, and the sink. That's pretty loose. We're going to leave as many pieces together as possible so not to create a big cleanup mess for ourselves. So we removed the screws from down here, and I used my screwdriver on this corner cabinet over here, and it pretty much just kind of pried apart. Although we're still connected somehow. Wait a minute. We might get to use the sledge. There we go. So we wiggled this loose, and it's now separated from this cabinet. Remember that brace we talked about earlier that's strapped across here? I don't see how it's connected. So let's go under here and look. So I see two fairly new screws. They are a slot head or a flat, whatever you want to call it, screw, like they would have used back in the day. It is interesting to note, though, this green paint, that tells me that this board was it started out with the trailer back in the 1940s, and then it was just probably reused when they added this dining set to it. See if we can lift this out. Nope, we're not going to be able to lift that out. Looks like we're going to have to take out this panel first. It looks like it just has a nail right here. And that is it for that bench seat. Okay, now we should be able to remove this front bench seat. We'll just get it right out of the way. You know, they served their purpose, but I think we can do better. Let's see, what's our next part? I guess we could remove these little posts here. And these just have a flathead screw in them. You can get to them past all the junk. Almost hate to scrape the garbage off of these. Try not to create any dust because I don't know what this is. This is a pretty good way to attach this though, using the pipe connections. Uh-oh. How about we just do that? Okay, there's our second column removed. So I was going to remove this center box here that has our storage in it. I was going to remove it, but then I remembered we still have our steel tank behind here in our kitchenette. So we need to go ahead and move the trailer forward, remove the rest of what's left of the kitchenette cabinets and our water tank, and probably this partition wall. Then we'll be able to remove this box without this falling on us. So let's get to that part. Okay, so we're back here at the kitchenette. We are going to remove this cabinet top, hopefully without too many issues. We're just going to take each piece off. Again, this wood is so rotted that the screws just don't hold, so you can pretty much just pry these pieces and it'll just pull right off as if it was a nail or something. Our little panel. I think we might be able just to pull this cabinet right off. Just like that. I knew there wasn't much holding it on. Let's see if we can gather it in one. Of course, the electrical's plugged in. Let's unplug it. See if we can move this over to the other side. And one piece. We now see our steel tank, what's left of it. So this was an interesting piece to hold the water when it just hung here under the cabinet. But I don't think we'll do that again. I have a new idea for a water tank, which is going to be more in line with what the magazine had. So with that cabinet gone and our water tank gone, I'm more confident that we can go ahead and go back around the front and take out that storage box. Well, we took just a little break to clean up some of the stuff in the shop because, well, you couldn't really walk around in here at all. And I stepped on a little itty bitty nail. Yeah, they hurt. Thankfully, it was just a little bitty pit. It was a little poker right there, so it didn't go into my skin, but it was enough to say, okay, let's stop, let's clean. All right, well, let's get back to removing this box right here. Looks like there's just a couple of screws. Kind of getting a little leery walking on this floor. Everything kind of shifts around. Again, we have one of those L brackets, a couple of flathead screws in it. These are still secure, so I can't just pull them out of the wood like I did the others. Okay, well, that looks pretty loose. We're just going to take it apart like that. We're not going to salvage this. One last screw head here. Okay. Hopefully this should just lift off. And we removed the next section of the box out of the way. Not really sure how this back wall and our side wall here are connected, but I think this wall actually is secured on this brace back here. So we came around to the curbside and we had to undo a screw that was right there in that joint. And then you can see the little screw right there about center screen that has to come out. This is all to remove the back partition. It's been nailed and screwed with little screws all the way down. Okay, so we're down here at the bottom. Our attempt was to get the rear panel off, but in order to do that, we need to remove this sidewall. We need to remove this little cabinet, our porter potty cabinet, take it off the wall, and then see what it takes to remove this off. I realize we're jumping around a lot right now, and I apologize for that. It's just kind of tricky to see what to take off next in order for the other pieces that you need in sequential order for them to come off. So we're over here trying to remove this little cabinet down here by the kitchen. Let's lower you down here, let you take a look. And the frame has already almost come loose, so we just have a little bit of a few little nails holding it on here. So we're just going to kind of pop each of those off. Fairly simple. Well, one, it looks like our wall is leaning pretty bad, and the other is our cabinet is loose. So let's go ahead and just move this cabinet into the center of our trailer to keep it firm. Not to worry, it just fell apart. Well, it looks like our wall here is just about ready to fall off. It's being held on with about 4 screws. But you know what? They're not holding on. They're just sliding right out of the wood. So I think we're just going to go ahead and let this come apart. Got one last joint. Just like that. And we'll put it with our other wall. Well, that wall came off really easy. It had 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in it, but they're so old and rotted, they just slid right out of the wood. I think what we want to do, instead of ripping this apart, because it is connected to our cabinet and our cabinet is kind of integrated with it, I think we're just going to take this piece off as one. See if we can do that. We'll just pry this back panel off of it. Just like that. No. Looks like our partition wall has come way off. Let me slide around the back. So when I went to remove our cabinet over there, then our partition wall started falling forward. So that told me it's ready to go already. So we're just going to gently give it a little tug. Maybe a little more than a tug. Here we go. We're going to use a pry bar. We can't really climb on the trailer from this point because then it'll pop it up. There we go. Sorry, it's all it took, one little pry. Got to be careful with all these nails, because there are a lot of them back here. Used to hold that kitchenette cabinet up. And I think we'll just take it right outside. For as little as that panel was, it was actually quite heavy. It must have been all that pressed wood, or maybe it was lead-based paint. Who knows? Well, our rear wall is now gone. Our cabinets are pretty much gone except for that one. We've looked all around the cabinet. We've shaken it a few times. And I think there's only like one little screw holding it in somewhere. Looks like it might be hung up on our tire wheel well. We're going to gently nudge it. There we go. Looks like it was a screw that was covered with paint that we wouldn't have seen. Well, there it is. We made our goal today. We've removed everything. Well, that's not true. We didn't remove the wheel wells or the floor. But we'll go ahead and take care of that at another time. Right now we're going to clean up the shop because not only did I haul a bunch of stuff outside, but I got a bunch of stuff inside here I need to take care of. And before I roll this trailer anywhere on this floor, I want to clean up all the nails and screws. Join us next time when we remove the wheel wells, the floor, and just see what kind of shape our frame is in.